Hey, my name is Miles. I'm 30 years old, and I live in Spokane, Washington. I manage the warehouse at Coleman Hardware and Supply, a family-owned store that sells everything from PVC pipes to power tools. It's not the kind of job that makes for good stories at dinner parties. Most days I count inventory, fix misplaced orders, and make sure the shelves don't look like someone threw a fit in the middle of the night. I like the order of it. A missing screw can be replaced. A crooked hinge can be straightened. People are harder. My life is simple. I wake up, go to work, come home to a quiet apartment, heat up leftovers, watch a few home repair videos, and fall asleep. I'm not lonely in some dramatic way. The phone just doesn't light up much after 9 o'clock. And sometimes I wonder if having someone come home would make the silence feel less loud. That Friday night blind date was my cousin Rachel's idea. She said I should meet a woman named Lena Harper, 28, graphic designer at a print shop downtown. She's a little busy, a little scattered, but she's good people, Rachel told me. Just don't give her your warehouse face. I didn't know what my warehouse face was, but I agreed anyway. We were supposed to meet at Riverside Cafe at 7 o'clock. I got there 5 minutes early, wearing the cleanest shirt I owned and jeans that didn't have sawdust on them. The place was packed. Families, couples, groups of teenagers, the constant clatter of dishes, and the hiss of espresso machines. I found a booth in the back corner, ordered coffee, and waited. 7:10, 7:15, 7:23, still no message. I started getting irritated, not because I thought I was special, but because time is supposed to mean something. If you say you'll be somewhere, you show up, or you don't. I opened my phone and started typing to Rachel. Asterisk, she's not coming. I'm heading home. Asterisk, I hadn't even hit send when the door slammed open. A woman rushed in like she had been running through rain that wasn't outside. Hair messy, bag sliding off her shoulder, face flushed with panic. And she was holding a little girl's hand, maybe 8 years old. Purple jacket, light-up sneakers flashing pink and blue with every step. The woman scanned the room. Then her eyes locked onto me. I saw it immediately. The moment she realized I was about to leave, her face shifted all at once. Embarrassment, relief, fear. She pulled the girl toward my booth. I'm so sorry, she said breathless. You're Miles, right? I'm Lena. I know I'm late. I know this looks. She stopped and looked down at the child. The girl wasn't looking at her. She was looking at me, studying my face, my hands, my mouth, like she was trying to understand something beyond sound. Then she tugged Lena's sleeve and started signing. I froze. I knew ASL. Not perfectly, but enough. I had worked with a deaf co-worker named Marcus for 2 years at the warehouse. I recognized fragments immediately. Asterisk need help. Asterisk lunch. Asterisk thank you. Asterisk careful. Asterisk Lena watched her hands, then looked back at me. Her voice softened. She says, you have kind eyes. Something in me shifted immediately. The irritation I had been carrying for the last half hour disappeared completely. I looked at the girl and slowly raised my hands so she could see them. My signing was slow, broken, probably wrong. But I tried. Asterisk thank you. Asterisk, I like your shoes. Asterisk, they're very cool. Asterisk, the girl's face lit up instantly. She looked down at her sneakers, stomped once so the lights flashed, and smiled wide. Lena stared at me like I had done something unexpected, like I wasn't reacting the way people usually did. I just shrugged off my jacket and sat back down. Well, I said, I'm not leaving yet. Lena froze for a second, like she wasn't sure she had heard me correctly. I pushed the menu toward her. Sit down. Have you two eaten? The girl looked at Lena. Lena still looked stunned. I should explain, she said quickly. She's not mine. She's my niece. Her name is Maya. My sister was supposed to pick her up, but she didn't show. She's not answering her phone. My friend was going to watch her so I could come here, but her car broke down. My phone died. It all just happened too fast. She spoke like she was afraid I would stand up and walk out at any second. I know this isn't how dates are supposed to go, she said. If you want to leave, I understand. I looked at her, then at Maya, who was now drawing on the condensation of her water glass. I had two choices: leave, go home, eat cold food alone, and feel justified, or stay with a woman who looked like she hadn't slept in days, and a child who had just told me I had kind eyes. I waved the waitress over. Another coffee for me, hot tea for her, and a kid's meal. Lena looked at me. You don't have to do this. I know, I said. Then why are you? I glanced at Maya, then back at Lena. Because my usual Friday night is reheated food and silence. This is already better than that. For the first time since she arrived, Lena smiled. Not nervous, not apologetic. Real. And that's how the strangest blind date of my life began. Lena kept apologizing. For being late. For Maya. For the noise. For her phone. For everything. I finally stopped her. Lena, I said, if you apologize one more time, I'm going to order every vegetable on this menu and make you finish them. Maya laughed without understanding everything, but she understood enough. I asked her simple questions through signs. She answered fast. I caught chicken and fries. Lena translated. She wants chicken fingers. And fries. A lot of fries. Reasonable. I said seriously. Maya looked at me like I had passed some test, then signed something else. Lena smiled. She says you understand more than most adults. I nodded. I'll take that as a compliment. The atmosphere changed slowly after that. Lena talked about her job as a graphic designer. 6 years in the field. 60% of clients she tolerated. 40% she survived. But she still loved watching a final print come off the machine. Maya loved drawing, hated math, and was obsessed with light-up shoes. Her mother, Lena's sister, had been struggling for years after her husband left. And lately, things had gotten worse. More disappearances. More last-minute responsibility falling on Lena. She told it casually. But I heard everything she wasn't saying. She wasn't just an aunt. She was a fallback system. The one who always stepped in when everyone else stepped out. I asked quietly, does this happen a lot? Lena looked at Maya. More than I want to admit. Kara says she needs time. But time always seems to be somewhere else when Maya needs her. I didn't joke. Not this time. That sounds exhausting. She gave a tired laugh. You get used to it. No, I said. You just learn how to carry it. She looked at me for a long second. You talk like you fix things for a living. I manage a hardware warehouse. That's as close as I get to philosophy. That made her smile, but her eyes stayed tired. Dinner lasted longer than expected. After Maya finished, she pulled out a tablet and started drawing. She drew the booth. She drew me. She drew Lena. She even drew her shoes glowing like stage lights. I looked at the drawing, then at her. Asterisk, is my head really that square? Asterisk, I signed. Maya burst out laughing. So hard, she almost dropped the stylus. Lena watched that moment closely, and something in her expression softened. Not sudden, not dramatic, just real. When we finally left around 9 o'clock, Lena apologized again in the parking lot. I stopped her. Lena. She looked up. This is the strangest blind date I've ever been on. Her face dropped slightly. But it's not the worst. I paused. I'd like to see you again. She blinked. Even with this? She said, glancing at Maya. I looked at the back seat. Maya was half asleep, shoes still flashing faintly in the dark, especially if she comes. Maya lifted her hand weakly and signed something I barely caught, but it looked like goodbye. And as the car drove away, I stood there realizing something simple. This wasn't the end of anything. It was the beginning of something I hadn't expected to find. Saturday morning coffee, Thursday night takeout, trips to the park so Maya could draw trees. Life slowly started building its own rhythm. I practice American Sign Language more seriously now. Not just fragments, not just survival signs. Maya corrected me like a strict teacher whenever I got something wrong. And somehow, I didn't mind it. One evening, I stopped by Lena's apartment and immediately felt something was wrong. Maya was sitting on the floor, completely still. The kind of stillness that doesn't belong to a child. Her small wooden art shelf had fallen off the wall. Broken screws, scattered paint jars, torn paper everywhere. Lena stood nearby, exhausted. "It fell this morning," she said quietly. Maya tried to fix it. It didn't work. Maya didn't speak, but her eyes did. They were glassy, trying not to break, trying to stay strong the way children do when they think emotions are dangerous. I sat down beside her. I checked the broken board, then the wall, then the screws. I signed slowly. Asterisk want to fix it together? Asterisk Maya blinked. Once. Then she nodded hard. I didn't fix it for her. I only guided her. Step by step, we sanded the edges, cleaned old glue, marked new anchor points, drilled carefully into the wall. I handed her the pencil, so she could mark where the screws should go. Lena stood in the kitchen doorway, watching everything. Silent, careful, like she was afraid to interrupt something important. When the shelf finally went back up, Maya placed her art supplies on it one by one, like she was restoring something sacred. Then she suddenly stepped forward and wrapped her arms around my waist. She signed, asterisk, thank you. Asterisk, I signed back. Asterisk, you did good. Asterisk, Maya smiled, so Wyatt looked like her whole face lit up. That night, after she fell asleep, Lena stood in the kitchen doorway again, watching me. You didn't just fix the shelf, she said softly. I looked up. I just used the right anchors. She shook her head. No, you made her feel like she fixed it herself. I didn't know how to respond to that. Lena stepped closer, then stopped. There was only a small space between us, but neither of us crossed it, and I realized something quietly. This wasn't just a blind date anymore. It had become something heavier. Something real. Something I didn't know how to name. 3 months later, everything shifted. Kara lost her apartment. Eviction notice. Unpaid rent. No warning that mattered. She disappeared for 2 days. Then sent a message. Asterisk, I need to get back on my feet. Can Maya stay with you for a while? I'm in Seattle. I'll let you know when I'm stable. Asterisk, a while. That word could mean anything. A week. A month. Maybe years. Lena stood in the parking lot of the print shop reading it. Then she called her mother. Her mother didn't hesitate. Kara is going through a hard time. Just help her. You're good with Maya anyway. That sentence hit me before Lena even repeated it out loud. You're so good with Maya. It wasn't praise. It was assignment. It meant responsibility was now permanent. Lena started guardianship paperwork the next day. Forms filled her kitchen table. Legal documents, medical authorizations, school records, financial forms. Her small apartment slowly stopped being a home and started becoming storage. Maya slept on the couch. At first, she didn't complain. She folded her blanket every morning like she was trying not to exist too loudly. But children don't hide stress. They absorb it. Maya's shoulders stayed tight. She hesitated before speaking, before asking for things, before taking space. And that was the part that hurt the most. Lena noticed too. She always did. And I started noticing Lena disappearing emotionally. Short replies. Delayed texts. Busy. Can't today. Maya is tired. Everything is fine. But nothing was fine. One Saturday morning, I was in the hardware store aisle between plywood sheets and room dividers when her message came. A long one. I read it slowly. Then again. Asterisk, I can't do this right now. Asterisk, asterisk, Kara basically left Maya with me. Asterisk, asterisk, I have guardianship paperwork. School, doctors, rent, everything. Asterisk, asterisk, I don't have space for Maya. And I definitely don't have space for a relationship. Asterisk, asterisk, I can't be someone's girlfriend while becoming an accidental parent. Asterisk, asterisk, you've been good to me, but I can't drag you into this. Asterisk, asterisk, I'm sorry. Asterisk, I stood there in silence. No anger, no heartbreak explosion, just stillness. Then I looked at the room dividers in front of me. Pre-built, temporary walls, portable partitions. Something clicked. She said she didn't have space. But space isn't something you have. It's something you build, if you know how. I started calculating immediately. Living room dimensions, sofa placement, door swing direction, light source angles, corner clearance. Enough space for a twin bed, a desk, a shelf, privacy, structure. I pulled out my phone and opened notes. This wasn't emotional. It was practical. A problem needed solving. A child needed stability. A woman needed relief. And I knew how to build things that didn't fall apart. Monday morning, I bought everything. Wall panels, soundproof sheets, tension rods, heavy curtains, anchors, screws, a level, 6 full sets of materials. I borrowed the store truck. Marcus looked at the load. What are you building? A room. For who? My friend's niece. He raised an eyebrow. And a girlfriend? I paused. I don't know if I still have one. Marcus nodded once. Then build it strong anyway. Saturday morning, 8 a.m. I knocked on Lena's apartment door. She opened it already tired. Hair messy. Old pajamas. Eyes heavy like she hadn't slept properly in days. Behind her, chaos. Laundry piles. Paper stacks. Maya asleep on the couch under 2 blankets. Lena looked at the cart in the hallway. Then at me. Ethan, what are you doing? I already told you I don't have space for I know, I said. I don't have room for a relationship, she added quickly. I know that too. I set the toolbox down. Then let's not build a relationship. I looked at Maya sleeping. Let's build a room. Silence. Her breath caught slightly. I pulled one panel out. Help me hold this. She didn't move. Nothing. We're just building a wall, I said calmly. Maya needs a real space. You don't have to carry everything alone. Just hold this end. Something in her broke quietly, not loudly, not dramatically, just enough. She stepped forward and grabbed the panel. That was the moment everything changed. Not because I saved her, but because she finally stopped standing alone. Maya woke up around 9:30. She froze when she saw the room full of tools and materials. Confused, Lena knelt beside her and signed slowly. Asterisk, we are building you a room. Asterisk, Maya didn't move. Then her eyes widened. She signed back quickly. Asterisk, mine? Really mine? With walls? Asterisk, I signed clumsily. Asterisk, yours. We build together. Asterisk, Maya started crying instantly. Not loud, not dramatic, just relief. The kind children don't know how to explain. We worked the entire day. I measured. Lena held the level. Maya passed screws like a tiny assistant engineer. At one point, she started checking everything in the apartment to see if it was straight. That made Lena laugh. Properly, for the first time in days. By late afternoon, the partition stood complete. A small room, but real. A twin bed space. A desk corner. A shelf. Thick curtains acting as a door. Private. Safe. Maya stepped inside slowly. Touched the walls. Then turned around and hugged both of us at once. Lena cried, openly this time. I looked away like I was checking a screw that didn't exist. That night, Maya slept inside her new space. Before sleeping, she signed to Lena. Lena translated, voice breaking. Asterisk, she says she finally has a place to dream. Asterisk, I sat on the floor beside Lena. Her shoulder touched mine. I'm sorry I pushed you away, she whispered. I understand why you did. I thought I had to survive everything alone. I looked at her. Am I part of everything you want to survive alone? She shook her head immediately. No. Then what am I? Her eyes filled. The thing I'm afraid of needing too much. I didn't kiss her. I didn't rush it. I just took her hand. Lena, I'm not afraid of the chaos. I'm afraid you think you have to live inside it alone. 3 weeks later, the guardianship hearing arrived. I wasn't family, so I waited outside, holding Maya's bag, sketchbook, snacks, headphones, extra shoes. Lena sat inside with trembling hands. Maya stayed close to her, quiet, observing everything. I knelt down. You okay? Maya signed softly. Asterisk, I'm scared Mom won't come. Asterisk, then after a pause. Asterisk, I'm also scared she will. Asterisk, that hit harder than I expected. I signed back slowly. Asterisk, you're not alone. Asterisk, Lena is here. I am here. Maya nodded. The hearing was short. Kara didn't show. Temporary guardianship granted. 6 months. Official responsibility. When Lena came out, she hugged Maya tightly. Too tightly. Like she was afraid reality would take her away again. Maya then pointed at me, ran over, hugged me too. I froze, then hugged her back. Lena saw everything, and cried again. That night, I thought the hardest part was behind us. I was wrong, because when we got home, Kara was waiting outside the apartment. And who are you? New boyfriend or the free handyman? I stayed silent. This wasn't my fight to start. Kara stepped closer. Maya, get your stuff. Mommy's taking you. Maya gripped Lena's shirt tighter. Lena's voice stayed calm, but I could hear the steel underneath. No, you can't take her right now. I have temporary guardianship. If you want to see Maya, we do it through social services properly. Kara gave a bitter laugh. You always did love being the good one, didn't you? You love being praised for being responsible. You love people looking at you like some kind of savior. Lena's face went pale. I saw the words hit the deepest fear inside her, that she wasn't really doing this out of love, but because she was addicted to being needed. Maya started breathing fast. She looked between Kara's mouth and Lena's hands, then became completely overwhelmed. She bolted into her small room and yanked the curtains shut. Lena turned immediately. Maya. Kara tried to follow. I stepped in front of the curtain. Stop. Kara glared at me. Move. No, you're not family. I met her eyes. You're right. But right now, that little girl is terrified, and any decent adult wouldn't barge into a scared child's safe space. Kara's face hardened. Lena moved beside me. Not behind me. Beside me. Kara, she said, voice shaking but clear. I love you. I know you're hurting. But I won't let you drag Maya through this just because you feel guilty today. Kara started crying. You think I'm a terrible mother? Lena was crying too. I think you're a mother who isn't okay right now, and Maya can't keep paying the price for that. The apartment went quiet. Behind the curtain, Maya peeked out through a small gap. I saw her eyes watching us. Kara looked at that narrow opening. The anger on her face slowly crumbled. For the first time, she seemed to understand it wasn't Lena stealing her child. It was Maya being afraid of her own mother's instability. Kara stepped back. I don't know how to fix everything, she whispered. Lena wiped her tears. Then start by not breaking anything. Gee else. Kara left that night after agreeing to go through social services and not try to take Maya on her own. No one won completely, but Maya stayed safe inside her small room. And sometimes keeping a child safe for one night is the biggest victory you can ask for. After Kara left, Lena stood in front of Maya's curtain, afraid to pull it open. I signed gently toward the gap. Do you want Aunt Lena to come in? A moment later, a small hand reached out and pulled the curtain aside. Lena stepped in and dropped to her knees. Maya wrapped her arms around her and held on tight. I turned away to give them space. That night, after Maya finally fell asleep, Lena stood beside me in the kitchen. You don't have a stay in this, she said. I know. My life is a mess. I can see that. I can't promise it will get easier. I'm not asking for easy. She looked at me. Then what are you asking for? I stepped closer and touched her face lightly. I'm asking you to stop deciding for me that I should leave. Lena closed her eyes, tears slipping down her cheeks. I love you, Ethan. I stood still. Then I kissed her. It wasn't the kiss of someone coming to rescue her. It wasn't pity. It was the kiss of two people who had built a wall together, protected a child together, and understood that love doesn't always arrive when life is neat and tidy. When we pulled apart, I said, I love you too. Behind the curtain of the small room, a soft sound came from inside. Maya had peeked out, then signed quickly. Lena laughed through her tears, and she says, finally. 6 months later, Lena's apartment was still small, but it no longer felt like it was trying to swallow too many lives at once. Maya's partition room had become a real little world. I built her a proper wooden bed from pine. There was an art shelf, a moon-shaped nightlight, and pale blue curtains. The walls were covered with drawings, cats wearing hats, houses with big windows, me with a slightly less square head, Lena laughing, And one picture the three of us building a wall together. Kara had started treatment and was seeing Maya on a supervised schedule. Their relationship wasn't healed, but at least it wasn't an open wound every day. Lena was still tired. She was still worried. She still woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning sometimes to check paperwork. But she no longer tried to prove she could carry everything alone. I still worked at the hardware store. I still counted inventory and argued with whoever kept misplacing the PVC pipes. But my evenings were no longer just reheated food and home improvement shows. Some nights I went over to Lena's, fixed a drawer, installed a hanging rod, or simply sat on the floor eating pizza, while Maya taught me new signs with strict patience. She was a tough teacher. If I got something wrong, she would cross her arms and look at me like a disappointed professor. One Saturday afternoon in November, we were putting together a new desk for Maya. Lena sat on the rug, frowning at the instruction manual. I held a panel while Maya stood beside us, giving orders like a construction foreman. Lena asked, "Is this panel C or panel E?" I looked. "I think it's C." Maya signed rapidly. Lena burst out laughing. She says, "You two grown-ups are hopeless." I looked at Maya. "Do you want to build it yourself?" She signed. "I'll do it better. No doubt about it." Maya grinned and ran into her room to grab a pencil. When she came back, she looked at me, then at Lena. Then she signed something to Lena. Lena went quiet for a second, then smiled softly. She says, "I was right. He really does have kind eyes." I looked at Maya. She looked back at me with complete seriousness, like this was a scientific conclusion she had verified over many months. I signed slowly. "Thank you. You have kind eyes too." Maya smiled, then ran back into her room. Lena sat down beside me, her shoulder touching mine. "I used to think you would leave," she said. "I know, because I was late, because I brought a child, because my life was too messy, because Maya needed too much, because I didn't have space." I looked at the small wall we had built together. "You said you didn't have space, but really you just needed someone willing to build it with you." She leaned her head against my shoulder. "Do you ever regret not leaving the cafe that night?" "Yeah." I looked at the small room, at Maya's light-up shoes neatly placed beside her bed, at Lena sitting next to me with her hair loosely tied and a smudge of paint on her wrist. Never, not even once. She took my hand. I used to think love showed up when everything was already fixed, when people had healed, when they had space, when they were ready, when life wasn't heavy anymore. But maybe real love doesn't wait for life to be neat. Maybe it arrives in a noisy cafe with a woman who's running late, a deaf little girl, a pair of flashing shoes, and the word signed across the table, "He has kind eyes." Maybe love isn't about saving someone. It's about staying when they think you'll walk away. It's about learning a child's language so she knows she's been seen. It's about handing the person you love one end of a board and saying, "Hold this. We're building this together." And when people ask me when I started loving Lena, I don't say it was when she smiled or when she cried or when we kissed after Carr left. I tell them I started loving her the moment she walked into that cafe, carrying the weight of her entire world on her shoulders and still bent down to translate for a little girl that I had kind eyes. Maya saw it before I did.